What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, of course, today is a pretty interesting day. We have some news from Binance, which we're going to cover today. We also had inflation data coming in much better than expected, and so overall a pretty good day. But I wanted to make a follow-up on yesterday's Binance video, let you guys know what's happening, my continued thoughts, and things of that nature. Okay, so since yesterday, we can see that about $902 million of net outflows have hit Binance. Now, I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing. I think overall it's a good idea for people to not hold their money on exchanges at all. You know, I think that people were taking yesterday's video a little bit the wrong way, saying that I want Binance to collapse. I think if you want Binance to collapse, you are against crypto, right? If Binance goes down, obviously Bitcoin is going to survive, and obviously some of the other altcoins are going to survive, but the majority of crypto would go down in flames with it, and that's what no one wants to see. Obviously, no one at all wants to see that, but at the same time, that does not mean that you should just keep all of your money on an exchange in which you have no control or custody over. It's just not a good idea, right? Learn your lesson from Celsius and learn your lesson from FTX. Learn your lesson from Luna, even though that's very different. Learn your lesson that in a blink of an eye, these major players can collapse, and you don't want to take on that unnecessary risk of just keeping it on the exchange. You know, I got a message the other day from a friend of mine, and he said, "Tyler, I keep all of my money on Binance because I'm staking some coins." And in my head, I told him, look, if you are willing to take the risk of making 3 to 4% to losing 100%, that's completely up to you. But personally speaking, I would rather know that I have full access and control over my coins than to take on 3 to 4% in gains over the course of a year. I think that there are more gains than that coming next year, and I just want to make sure I make it there, right? And so it's not an attack on Binance from my side, at least. It is just the overall belief that keeping crypto on exchanges is absolutely not a good idea in general, okay? Now, the second thing that I saw before we get into the further news is that someone said something along the lines of, let me get this pulled up. It's stupid videos like this encouraging everybody to withdraw their money that causes firms to become insolvent, just like if everybody went and withdrew their money out of the bank. Now, I wanted to address this because I did see this also. People were saying, Tyler, don't make titles like that. Tyler, don't make videos like that because it encourages people to go pull their money out. And when they pull their money out, then Binance becomes insolvent. That's not how that works, okay? So in response to that, I said, no, banks are open about lending out your funds. They are required by the government to have a specific amount in reserves under high stress situations. That amount is actually 10% as updated just this year. Exchanges promise to hold your funds on a 1-to-1 ratio so that no matter what high stress situation occurs, your money will be there. A high stress situation cannot cause insolvency to a firm claiming to hold all funds in equal rations. So what I mean by that is, if I tell you, if you give me $1, I will hold your dollar. It does not matter to what extent you start panicking. Whenever you need your dollar back, I will have that dollar. It doesn't matter how many people want their dollars back. I will have that dollar because I hold it equally on a 1-to-1 ratio. This is why FTX collapsed. They did not hold it on a 1-to-1 ratio. Matter of fact, they did a bunch of fraudulent shit with it without holding it also. But that's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is that if I promise to keep it 1-to-1, I'm not lending it out, I'm not keeping 10% of it as reserves, I'm not doing any of that, I'm holding it 100%, it does not matter to what extent people withdraw their money or how many people withdraw their money, every single dollar should be there. Is it there for Binance? I don't know. I think the fact that they had an AUP, an agreed upon procedure, instead of a normal audit, raised some red flags for me. But at the end of the day, who am I to judge? I have no idea. They obviously have billions and billions and billions of dollars, probably even higher than that in money. And so obviously, I think they're going to be fine. I don't think they're going to collapse. But taking the risk is just completely unnecessary, in my opinion. Now, furthermore, we did see that there was another piece of news not too long ago in which there were criminal charges coming against Binance. I don't really think this is going to amount to anything, right? We've seen things like this with USDT. We've seen things like this with Binance in the past, in which people were claiming that they were going to be doing some type of money laundering case or that they were going to go against them. And oftentimes, these charges that they're going to press or these cases they're going to bring to a company, they really don't happen. I do believe things like that seem to be a little bit fishy. Something behind the scenes is trying to bring it down with it. I don't know, obviously, but you know, that's just my opinion. I don't really think that's going to amount to anything, and I'm not all too worried about it. So overall, in my opinion, I'm not really all too concerned with this. The one thing that does stand out to me a little bit, though, is what we are seeing with the USDC. So it says on USDC, we have seen an increase in withdrawals. However, the channel to swap from PAX BUSD to USDC requires going through a bank in New York in USD. The banks are not open for another few hours. We expect the situation will be restored when the banks open. These are one-to-one conversions, no margin or leverage involved. We will also try to establish more fluid swap channels in the future. In the meantime, feel free to withdraw any other stablecoin, BUSD, USDT, etc. So that doesn't sound terrible. Obviously, they didn't stop all withdrawals. It's not like you can't get any of your money off. The only question that I have, and this is genuinely just a question, I am no blockchain expert, I'm just someone who reads into things, right? The question that I have, and I would love for someone to answer in the comment section for me here, is why are we trying to swap BUSD to USDC on USDC withdrawals if you're holding things a 1-to-1 ratio, right? If I give you USDC, are you swapping that USDC for BUSD to promote your own stablecoin? Or are you keeping my USDC? Because if you're keeping my USDC, you should have that USDC on hand to give me my USDC back without having to swap it from BUSD back to USDC. So the question then becomes for me, I'm not really necessarily against them swapping USDC for BUSD because it is their own stablecoin and it makes sense. But that does bring on an extra level, layer and level of risk in which I didn't necessarily agree upon. And so my question here is, why do they need to swap it back from BUSD to USDC if people are trying to withdraw too much USDC? Shouldn't it all be sitting there? That's the one thing that I have a question about. I'm not 100% sure what the answer is, honestly. And that's the type of things that I'm seeing a lot recently from Binance, is that it's not really terrible things that are coming out, but things that raises a lot of alarms and a lot of questions. And I do hope they continue to be resolved and answered. So that one thing I am going to make sure I try to get an answer to, and I will bring that back to you guys. Remember, my focus here, I want Binance to succeed, but I want to make sure that people are not taking unnecessary risk in case they don't, right? I lost $100,000 across Celsius and FTX combined. I don't want people to be in a situation that is similar to that. And so because of that, I'm going to tell you over and over and over again to get your money off of exchanges, get them in a cold wallet, and leave them there until we're back in a bull market at least. That is the only way right now you can realistically protect yourself. And if people do that, it should not have an effect on Binance if they hold things 1-to-1, because their money should come from other protocols, other platforms, and other fees in which they charge. So it shouldn't have anything to do whatsoever with people withdrawing simple deposits that they've had on the platform. So with that said, that's going to be about it for today's update. Of course, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, you can always let me know simply by just smashing the like button and subscribing so you see the next update, and I will talk to you all next time. Peace.